What's up? What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here for the extravagance of MVP Sports Live. It was a great pre-show before MVP Sports Live. Obviously, I'm joined with my co-host, my beautiful co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
Dave and I, for the Twitch chat, was basically, I don't know how long it's been. It's been forever. We were talking about a little debate. So if you wanted to hear us talk about the debate, you can't because it's past. It was live on Twitch. Now it's gone. So YouTube crowd, sorry, you don't get to hear that. But we are here to talk sports like we always do, Monday through Friday. Dave, full NBA today, although there was no games. We're going to talk just all the NBA draft news that is kind of circulating to the top as we're just about a month and a half away from the draft. Also, there's some breaking news that has gone down in the NFL. Before we get into everything, though, quick three things. Number one, Discord. Join it. Link down below or ! Discord. It's a great community in order to talk to everyone in the Real MVP family. Number two, if you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids. Thank you to our Patreon supporters, Pat Hill and Philly Sean. You can also support us on Twitch by subbing to our Twitch channel. And speaking of that, we're live on Twitch, twitch.tv/MVPvids every Monday through Friday. But we're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. And Dave, before we get into the full basketball tilt draft news that we have kind of circulating, we have some NFL news that I want to get to. And I will say, if you're on YouTube and you're like, blah, 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 I clicked this video for the draft talk, it's not here. There's timestamps down below, so you can skip ahead if you don't want to listen to the NFL stuff. But Dave, the Titans and Steelers game is being postponed this week. Sunday's game between the Steelers and the Titans has been postponed to either Monday or Tuesday. The NFL said in a statement Wednesday that a new game date and time will be announced as soon as possible, adding that the postponement will allow additional time for further daily COVID-19 testing and to ensure the health and safety of players, coaches, and game day personnel. The postponement follows positive COVID-19 tests among the Titans. Titans Form 4 players, starting nose tackle Daquan Jones, linebacker Kamali Correa, long snapper Ben Brinkley, and practice squad tight end Tommy Hudson. Also, 5 team personnel members this week have also contracted it too. Dave, what are your thoughts on this Steelers-Titans being postponed maybe 24 to 48 hours later than it would originally have been played?
I'm totally good with it. I mean, look, you got to do your normal rounds of testing, and tests have to be effective, which means you got to do multiple days of them, make sure you catch everybody who could have been affected because it takes multiple days for the disease to test positive for some people. Yay, science. Yeah, I'm cool with it. It's like, hey, you can't do a Sunday nighter, that's fine. Bump it to Monday. Hey, you can't do a Monday nighter, maybe do a Tuesday game. Like, you're the NFL. What's the network going to do? Air some reruns? Like, of course they want your business still. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to hurt the NFL in any way. I think it's just a matter of you got to be careful about this shit. You know, obviously you got 4 people. Initially it was 3. Then they tested. Today we got another one added to the list. Tomorrow let's see what happens. I think that's the thing, is just day after day you have to see what the numbers do. If by Friday there's still just those 4 players who are affected and the 5 staff, that's fine. Move forward with the game on, on Monday. You can do a Monday early game. Fuck it. Like,
I mean, baseball's doing the 11 o'clock start. Like today, there's 8 games.
Weird, but that's just weird, but that's baseball because
but I mean, when you got 8 games, I mean, it's 11 for us, so it's noon out east.
Yeah, it's 9 a.m. for the West Coast.
Yeah, but it's usually like I think the 11 o'clock game today was like
East Coast games. I know.
Yeah, it was like Cincinnati, Atlanta. So like
it was a Trevor Bauer hour. But no, I don't think it's a big deal as far as the delays go. I'm totally cool with it. But really, it's just let's see what the numbers look like in the next 2 days. Because that's what will decide. If the numbers don't change in the next 2 days, then we could go Monday, we could go Tuesday, no problem. Yeah. If the numbers for the Titans get worse, or God forbid something pops up across on another team,
yeah, like if we've got some positive tests on the Vikings because they were involved. Absolutely. The thing that I was thinking about today, and I put it in our Discord, was if, let's say, worst case scenario, they have to postpone the game and like they lose the game this week. NFL, I hope you're watching. If you need to do that, I have your plan right here. I will lay it down for you. It will only affect one other team, and it won't affect them that much. What the NFL could do if they need to lose the game this week is basically say, okay, Steelers-Titans, your bye is week 4. It becomes your bye week. We're going to move the Steeler-Baltimore game from week 7 to week 8. That works because both the Ravens and the Steelers would have a week 8 bye. So for the Ravens, it would just be, hey, instead of playing the Steelers week 7, you're playing them week 8. Your bye is now week 7. For the Steelers, you move that game down. The Titans-Steeler game would then happen week 7 because the Titans have a week 7 bye. So for the Titans, it would just be, for the Titans and Steelers, it's, hey, this week's your bye. Week 7, you'll play. And then for the Ravens, it's just, hey, we're moving your bye one game up and you'll play the Steelers where your bye would be.
Yeah.
I looked at that.
It works out.
And there was like, for me, I'm like, I get the point of like, hey, let's play the game if everyone's safe. But when it comes to the virus, Dave, I'm a half empty kind of guy to where it's like, hey, let's not play games with this thing. Like this isn't the type of disease we want to play games with, and kind of fuck up like the MLB did earlier in the season. So for me, that's why I was like, really, does 1 day or 2 days really help? But like if it's just for testing and hey, everyone's good to go and everyone's safe, then yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. But hey, there is ways for them to say, hey, if we need to move the game, it won't be
they do have that availability.
End of the world.
They do have extra weeks at the end of the season, too. I mean, not running short on time.
The other thing, Dave, coming from the NFL, and this comes from ESPN also, the NFL has issued another strong warning to coaches who won't wear masks on the sideline during games, threatening suspensions and forfeitures of draft picks as punishment for failing to comply with COVID-19 game day protocols, according to a league memo obtained Wednesday by ESPN's Adam Schefter. Dave, the thing I wanted to ask with this is you have to be strong with this. You have to say you got to follow this because of how deadly the virus is. But the thing that I thought of this to where I'm like, what?
Like, we got football players not wearing masks the whole game, and you're getting mad at the coaches for also not wearing masks the whole game. Like,
it's a rule. If it's a rule, follow the rule. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, Dave, you know my opinion.
Rules are arbitrary here.
We all
acknowledge there's a problem.
You know my opinion on the masks.
And by no means are we spacing ourselves out safely. By playing the game, we are taking an unnecessary risk.
Yep.
So do I give a fuck if the coaches are in the same page as the players are with that risk? No, I don't care.
With me, from the beginning, I feel like everyone should be masked up. I feel like
not,
underneath that you could have the face shields on even like while you're playing. It's not
protective though.
Then why do people wear them then if they're not protected?
No, I mean like the Andy Reid one.
No, I'm saying like the like one that like it's the cloth around your neck that you pull up, the one that like Nick Saban wears.
Oh, they're not as effective.
Okay, like that's the only thing of like I can see if you want to use that while you're playing football. But even like a regular mask is not going to affect you while you're playing football, in my eyes. Maybe because I'm a non-football player. I don't know these things. But like for me, the thing that was the most interesting with this is the NFL going so far to say, hey, if you don't follow this rule, we're going to take away draft picks from you. Because to me, the suspension doesn't matter. Fuck it, here's some money. I'll pay money. But like the draft pick thing is something where if you're a X team, your owner may say, hey, wear that fucking mask because I don't want to lose my draft picks. I don't want to lose a possible ways to make this team better and to get players that will make this team better. But at the same time, it will fall into what you're taking a 5th rounder from me. Fucking who cares? Bill Belichick's the only one that cares about those. To where it's like, unless it's like a high pick, does this consequence even mean anything? Or does it not mean anything in general?
It's good for the NFL to have consequences for this, but this is nothing more than a public visibility issue. It's a PR nightmare. I think the problem is Americans want to acknowledge, that we're totally working through this. We're getting there, except for the fact that we're not, and the numbers say we're not, and the numbers show we're not, and the counts are all going the wrong way.
This thing called science says we're not.
No, bro, it's cool. It's cool. We want to watch football, so we're gonna ignore those. And that's the thing, is the NFL itself is just, they're taking an unnecessary risk by playing the game. Does it matter if the coaches wear the masks on the sideline or not? No. At the end of the day, it really doesn't, because if they're not wearing the masks on the sideline correctly, what makes you think they're wearing the masks at the practice facilities all the time? What makes you think that they're keeping their distance and doing everything when they don't have a million cameras on them? This is just a PR thing they're doing, because every week, every Monday, it's a topic. Every Thursday night turns into a Friday morning news conversation about how, look at these NFL coaches who can't wear their mask correctly. It's bad PR for the NFL. Yeah. So they have to go out there. The fines weren't high enough. You need to go out and take away something from the team. I think a draft pick gets people's attention. And yeah, if they want to play their dumb game, and they can wear their masks, it's that easy.
Yeah, and the thing that I kind of think of is, I'm thinking back to the NBA. Really, the only coaches that wore masks were Dan Antoni, Alvin Gentry, Popovich. Those were the only ones that were basically, because of age and everything, they were at a higher risk to where they were okay, I've got to mask up for myself, right? Am I missing a coach?
Yeah, the NBA might have had a mask mandate. I don't know.
Because Spoelstra wasn't wearing a mask Game 6. I know Spoelstra and Vogel have not worn masks, but football, it's just one of those things where I voiced my opinion numerous times. I feel everyone should be masked up. Brad Stevens also, JD says in Twitch chat. So not everyone was wearing masks, I want to say, for the NBA side of it. But yet again, that's a bubble. That's a different situation than what's going on in the NFL. There's supposed to be no
coronavirus in there, and they succeeded at that mission,
But Dave, let's move on. NBA draft, the rest of the show. This is all sparking from an article that you brought up a couple days ago, but we weren't able to hit it until today. And it's all about our boy. Well, my boy. I think he's going to be I think he's the best prospect. I know you also think he's the best prospect.
I like how you're just claiming draft picks now. My boy.
Well, no. I feel it's one of those things where, for example, oh, fuck. Grayson Allen is your boy. He is your boy, not my boy, your boy. This is one where it's I think Dave and I are both favorable on this guy. And this comes from Wasserman of Bleacher Report. According to a Western Conference executive, word around the league is Minnesota isn't leaning one way at number 1. Sounds confused and feels pressure after messing up last year by trading for Jarrett Culver. The belief is that Minnesota's priority is to trade, realistically down the board, assuming an established star won't become available. If the Wolves stick at number 1, multiple sources say they'd bet on LaMelo Ball having the edge over Anthony Edwards. Rival scouts have mentioned fit issues with Ball in Minnesota, specifically his ability to play alongside another ball-dominant player, and whether a team's defense featuring Ball, Russell, and Cat has any chance in a 7-game series against Western Conference opponents. Dave, is LaMelo Ball going to be the number 1 pick when we get to November 18th?
It's really starting to feel like he is. Either because the Timberwolves take him or the Timberwolves trade back and another team wants LaMelo Ball guaranteed. I think it's going to be the case. We've talked about him from a prospect standpoint, what he brings to the table. I mean, he's a huge guard with insane court vision, has the ability to move the ball around an offense, creative passer, excellent in half court, looks good and driving to the lane. It's just, his shot, which he's reworking right now, has always been the big question mark. Frame wise, very skinny, very young though. So as he continues to grow in that frame, you've got a lot of potential for what he could be in the body of, a 6'7", 6'8" guard out there who has an insane handle. So I think he's got all the right things, all the right boxes to check as far as, yeah, this guy's got, top 3 potential in this draft class. I think he's the number 1 prospect on the board. Definitely the most intriguing prospect to me.
To me, this is like the no-brainer of like, if you are picking off a big board, I agree with you. LaMelo Ball is my number 1. And if Minnesota is looking for a trade, there's one team in mind for me when it comes to this. Because like I've always been on the side of, if Minnesota makes the pick, the only reason I would shy away from Ball is because of 2 reasons, and the Bleacher Report article said it. 1, D'Angelo Russell. Like, if you're going to keep D'Lo, you don't really need LaMelo Ball. And number 2, your team, Beasley, if he comes back, because I know he's got his own situation going on right now that I don't know.
His contract should be a little bit cheaper now.
Like, if he comes back, him, D'Angelo, Cat, they were one of the worst teams with opponent points in the paint, where basically you could just put up a open for business sign for opposing offenses in the paint, to where it's like LaMelo Ball doesn't really help there, to where like with me, I feel like don't be scared. Like if you're Minnesota right now, don't be scared. Like you can make a pick that is different than everyone else, because this draft class has no yes, there's a clear number 1 in my mind, which is LaMelo, like talent wise, but fit wise, there's no Zion this year. There's no guy where it's like, yep, number 1, just put him at the top of the mock and then forget about everything else, to where if they went James Wiseman, if they went Big O at number 1, I would see that and go, oh, they are basically saying we need a rim protector. Those are the 2 best rim protectors in this draft. But if they're looking to trade it, and this I'm getting from an article, basically SYN.TV from New York, potential first overall LaMelo Ball confirms he has spoken to the Knicks. And they say, speaking on a Zoom call with reporters Monday, Ball confirmed that he has talked to the Knicks, who own the 8th overall pick in the draft. If they wish to take him, they almost certainly need to trade up, as Ball is considered to be a top 3 choice, let alone a top 5. Dave, I have a trade mocked up for the Knicks right now.
Knicks moving on up.
Knicks give up the 8th pick. Yep. They give up their first round pick next year. And right now I have the Clipper pick from 2021, but I might change that and say, fuck it. We're going to give up our first round picks, the next 3 picks for the Knicks, in order to move up, because those are going to be the picks that the T-Wolves want. The T-Wolves are not going to want the Dallas pick. They're not going to want the Clipper pick from X year. They're going to go ahead and they're going to want that New York Knicks pick, because if there's anyone that's going to be bad the next 3 years, it's going to be the Knicks. Should the Knicks basically mortgage their future, they'd still have Dallas and LA's pick for the next 2 years. Is that something they should do? And is that something the T-Wolves would jump all over, getting 3 Knicks first round picks?
I mean, I would if I were them. I think that's an overpay.
What would you trade? What would be the ideal offer if you were the T-Wolves? What would you ask for?
I want to say that if I'm the T-Wolves, I would be intrigued to do a deal that might let me get... see, the problem is James Johnson is a player op for $16 million. Mm-hmm. He's taking that player op. I would want to do a sign and trade.
Okay.
Dated later, when contracts are up. So once James Johnson officially goes, yes, I'm opting in. So I would say you get the 1 and you get James Johnson, and we get back the 8. Pull up the Knicks. I got to just double check something real quick on the Knicks roster.
Mm-hmm.
So we go the Knicks pick at 8. We would take... I don't know, what would they want off that team? Maybe a sign and trade for Mo Harkless.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a swap of no, I really do. Maybe they'd have to go Mitch Rob. Like, I know the Knicks fans don't want to do that, but like, would you do 8 Mitch Rob and the Clippers or Mavs pick?
Dave, you're reading my mind. You're reading my mind, my guy.
8 Mitch Rob and either the Clippers or the Mavs pick for the future year. for the number 1 and James Johnson.
So one question first.
Yep.
If the Knicks were giving up Mitch Robb, would they want a player back?
They're getting James Johnson. Deal with it.
No, for me,
that's the whole thing. Is you're eating contract.
Yeah. For me, I would switch up one thing, and this is only because of the phrasing that is used in the Bleacher Report article. Mm-hmm. So Minnesota would be getting Mitch Robb, the 8th overall pick, and then Dallas's pick next year. So you get an additional first-round pick. You can change that to New York if you want. Actually, you could change that to New York because they would give up the number 1, and if they see Jared Culver as a mistake, and if New York is like, well, we don't want to give up Mitch Robb, the T-Wolves can go, well, we'll give you Culver. And the Knicks could go, well, that could be a quality player we could work with. He's got defensive upside. We've got Tom Thibodeau, who's a defensive-minded coach. He's not a rookie, so he'll play.
That's true. You read really well there. I totally didn't even notice the mistake.
I know. Reading and me usually go hand in hand.
I'm a little shocked. I'm a little shook right now. Bleacher Report. Oh, JD busting fucking news for us in Twitch chat. Mm-hmm. Bleacher Report reporting that LaMelo withdrew from the combine, which I was excited to see him at. Declining interviews with teams.
So he's going to the Knicks.
Which means he's got a lock from somebody.
He's going to the Knicks. Knicks are trading up for number 1. I'm calling it right here.
There it is.
Yep. Knicks are trading up.
Knicks trading up for number 1.
Knicks are trading up. Because, he's already interviewed with the Knicks.
Yep.
I think he's interviewed with the Knicks, and I don't know if he's interviewed with the Bulls. I know someone that we're talking about later today has interviewed with the Bulls. But I don't think LaMelo has. I'm looking up that Bleacher Report article. Yeah, 2 hours ago, withdrew from the combine. Yep.
I'm with you, man. I think that this makes some pretty fucking clear sense. We talked about it when the Knicks were the number 1 pick. We talked about it a while back. What kind of headband is the streamer wearing on the right?
Where can they get that headband, Dave? Where'd you get it?
Oh, you don't even want to know.
It's not a headband, is it? It's like a makeshift. It's totally
not a headband.
It's a makeshift,
right?
Isn't it?
What's that?
What is it? You got to say now.
It was a piece of a t-shirt, man.
Nice.
I honestly just clipped the bottom.
DIY, baby. DIY.
I was like, I don't know. Well, the whole thing was I don't want to go buy a headband because I was I don't know if I'm what the deal is with the long hair. What I'm doing with it, I got no plans. So let me demo out the headband, and I like it. It works, and yeah.
I've got it. You know what we gotta add to the merch idea for MVP patent pending? White bread headbands. It's a white headband that says white bread on it.
Yeah, maybe. I appreciate the love though, Sunshine. Ready for Zumba class? I was never a Zumba guy. I was a P90X kind of guy. Mm-hmm. Ricky was the insanity one.
You at the bar.
Yeah. But anyway, as far as the Knicks go, we talked about this way, a year ago. He was the ideal fit for that team. They need a point guard, somebody who can facilitate, help RJ Barrett out, get the ball around that offense, and be, another scoring option. So I love the fit. I do question, like you said, though, is this going to come down to Mitch Robb being moved, or are they going to unload a wealth of their own picks to make this deal happen? Because I do think that 1 to 8's a pretty big jump. So you're definitely getting a next year pick. And then I'm guessing it'll be next year's pick, maybe top 3 protection. Mm-hmm. Maybe not. That's the thing. How greedy do you think the Timberwolves get here?
I say get extra greedy. Try to get as many picks as you can.
You think go for protected first and then and a Clippers pick and the Mavs pick?
I would say get anything you can. If you can get Nick picks, even if they're top 3 protected.
Would you prioritize the picks over Mitch Robb as a second piece to the deal?
I will ask you this.
No, you can't ask
no, because this influences the question. In your mind, how much would Mitch Robb help their defensive woes in the paint? Because he gets a lot of blocks, but that's just blocks on a stat sheet.
Yeah. I think I don't know if he's the ideal big man to stick next to Cat down there. Yeah. I mean, 2 legit 7-footers is an intriguing prospect. I just don't know how it would fly long term. I mean, Cat sort of plays the 4 offensively anyway.
Yeah.
So I think it works out for that factor. But like, I just don't know how well Mitch Rob moves on the perimeter. Like the problem is that the way they play their defense and when other teams attack them is, if they can drag, like right now, it's if they can drag Cat out to the outside, and then they've got the foot speed to cut and slash behind backdoor. They just wreck them in the paint.
Yeah.
If Cat is playing the 4 and you expect Mitch Rob to do that, like he's not the most agile, but he's not awful. Like he's got okay foot speed. The problem with him is just the restraint. Like he swats fucking everything. Like you pump fake it, you're gonna get a ball smacked back in your face and take 2 shots.
Because the thing I love most, then, like if you think he's gonna add, and even just almost any help is really what they need. They need somebody to be a force down there, not a walking turnstile. What I'm thinking of then is the T-Wolves move down to 8. They get Mitch Rob. Then they can draft a guy. They'd be in prime range for a guy I think would fit perfectly with them in Devin Vassell. And then throw out a starting lineup of, oh shit, you know what? Fuck it. Not Devin Vassell. Go like Isaac Okoro, because then you could put out D'Lo at the 1. I forgot about Okogie. Okogie would be at the 2. Okoro can develop into your defensive specialist at the 3. Cat at the 4, Mitch Rob at the 5. And that's like the future 5 moving forward.
Sure, assuming that Malik is down.
Well, it's one of those things of like, if you can get Malik for cheap, you can bring him in and then just he would be starting over Okoro. Like if that sense, if you think you're going to get Malik back for cheap, then you can maybe go with Devin Vassell, because I think
he did just commit a felony. I think
I know there's that. So like, if the reason why I put Okoro there is because of that, I don't think that Malik Beasley is going to be back in Minnesota. So that's why I would go with Okoro, because he would fit at the 3. But if they do bring back Beasley, because like, hey, because of your felony charge, you're cheaper.
I don't know if it was a felony or what, but I'm just
the legal charge. I'll say the legal charge. They get him for cheaper. Then if they bring him back, okay, you're obviously starting. Maybe they then go with a Devin Vassell at 8, who can help them both defensively and offensively. Like Okoro, you're getting straight defense right now, unless you try to develop an offensive game where Vassell can give you remnants of an offensive game along with his defense.
I agree. They've got a couple of good options out there. Basically as long as they don't go Obi Toppin at that point, they should be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting Mitch Rob, you shouldn't need Obi Toppin at all.
Well, I mean, you already got Cat, so you got the 4-5 locked up.
Yeah,
but it does kind of bring the question, of what would they go for, like with that? Do you think it is like 100% like T-Wolves? Like this makes too much sense to not do this deal?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, because for the T-Wolves, I feel like if I'm getting a player in the deal, it's Mitch Rob or no player. He's the one I'd want for Minnesota. And I feel like on the other side, any draft capital you can get from the Knicks is good draft capital, even if it's a protected 3, because let's be honest, even when they're in the top 3, they get bounced out. So, I mean, you're still getting a pick at that point.
Ooh, and actually, you know what? Do you remember? No, this was a while ago. There were rumors that the Timberwolves were interested in Dennis Smith Jr.
Okay.
But that was prior to them picking up D'Lo. I don't know if that still would hold now that they have D'Lo. Yeah, bench guard.
I wouldn't take anyone that you think is going to clash with D'Lo.
Well, no, he's a bench guard. Like Dennis Smith Jr. played in the fucking G League last year. Good point. He knows his place. He's not competing for starter minutes here. But I remembered that rumor out there.
Unless they go, let's say at 8, Halliburton sitting there.
That would be good.
Halliburton could be a guy who, like, yes, you're the point guard number 2, but in some rotations, if we need to put you next to D'Lo, you're able to play the 2 while also playing the 1. Yeah,
and
so like I would go with that over a Dennis Smith Jr. because you're getting kind of a 2-for-1 in a younger player.
Well, yeah, no, I just figure that Dennis Smith Jr. might be a throw-in. Like you might be able to get 2 picks and a Dennis Smith Jr. or 2 picks and a Frank, something like that. I'm higher on Frank than I think a lot. Or I'm higher on Frank as I think a lot of people are.
Yeah.
Rather than Dennis Smith Jr. That's why I think Dennis Smith Jr. is more of a throw-in kind of guy. But TBD on what Thibodeau wants to do with that roster. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think that a lot of this makes a lot of sense. Melo to the Knicks is definitely a huge win for them, and it's like a soft out for the Timberwolves. It's like, well, we didn't really like this year's draft class enough. We didn't love anyone at one. Everybody's got their issues, and we've now had way too much time to analyze and overanalyze these players. So let's pass, stack up on an extra draft pick next year, which I believe their pick is with the Warriors. Or no, that's 2 years from now.
You're talking about the T-Wolves? Right? The T-Wolves next year pick? Yeah, I'll look it up. It is T-Wolves. So in 20, they've got this year's Brooklyn pick too. So they've got 18 this year, or I think it's around 18 with Brooklyn. 2021, they have no picks. Right now it has on Trade NBA no picks. Let me check really quick. Future NBA draft pick.
Golden State owns it, I think, from the D'Lo trade.
I think so. I think you might be right.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, they might be trying to get back into that 2021 class, which
would make
has
sense.
a lot of hype talent. Like, better than this year times a lot. Like, it's not even fair how much better this class.
Yeah, the 2021 first round pick is with the Golden State Warriors.
And yeah, I could definitely see them going.
However, it is protected top 3.
Well,
so there's a top 3 protected. So if they are 1, 2, or 3, it is Minnesota's. Otherwise, it's going to the Warriors.
I can't say that they won't have that protection come in handy.
If that's the case, they lose their 2022 first round pick,
which is fine. Like, that's totally fine. But yeah, I think that they would want the 2021 pick from.
But like, even with LaMelo, the Knicks are not going to be a great team.
Right.
Like, so that's why it's like, yes, get the Knicks pick, have a chance to get yours if you are a top 3 because of the lottery and shit. Minnesota could surprise with, let's say they get a Mitrob and they make the right draft choices in the draft. Like, they could go
not better than 10th.
You think so? Yeah, I mean,
100%.
Good point. Like, now I'm even thinking
Pelicans are back and Phoenix is good. Yeah. Like, nobody drops off from that top.
Yeah.
Memphis is still there. So
yeah, good point.
I think best case, like, Minnesota could finish like 10th, maybe 9.
Okay. I mean, I'm
not trying to cap them a year in advance. I'm just saying
you're gonna hurt your odds for the number 1 pick, but like, just as long as then you still get a lottery.
They need stabs at next year's draft. So that's the direction they should go. Go in on that draft capital, like Ricky said. Mitrob would be a nice, but not a necessary. So, see what they flex on, see what they end up with. But I like it. I think it's a win-win. Lets them save face because they don't have a direction yet, and the Knicks get their guy and somebody who will hopefully, like, man, this could not be more of like a fire and ice kind of a setup for Tom Thibodeau. You get the guard who has been heavily criticized for his lack of defense, and you get the defensive guru in Tom Thibodeau. I like it, though.
Dave,
I think there's anyone he learns under. If there's anyone who can make LaMelo Ball play good defense and grow into a superstar, Tom Thibodeau is probably that guy.
So everything you just said, Dave, is going to be clipped for YouTube along with this, because this is going to be my way of saving this and being able to find it super easy. Everything I've looked at right now, we are, September 30th at 6:50 p.m. Central Time. Ricky is making his call to where everything is shown when you look up LaMelo Ball interviews that the Knicks have interviewed him. The Knicks have interviewed him. The news is he's pulling out. I feel like there is a deal pseudo in place to where the Knicks and T-Wolves are for sure thinking there is going to be a deal done. There might not be particulars. They might just be talking through the particulars right now to where I am calling it LaMelo Ball will be a Knick. Knicks are taking their own future into their own hands. They're not going to let a lottery ball speak for them any longer. Yeah. They're going to trade picks. They're going to, I would think if you're Minnesota, you want the New York picks, but they're going to get picks nonetheless from the Knicks. Knicks move up to 1. They take LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball coming to the Mecca to play with RJ Barrett. That's what I'm doing right now, calling the shot. That's it. That's the pick. That's the pick. Lock it.
Yep.
But Dave, before we move on to the other draft topics, little interruption here. We're going to do a segment that we usually like to do here on MVP. I was thinking today, once all of sports stops again, that this is not going to be a recurring segment when like sports stops for a while in the off seasons. But these are the dampest of dudes, soggiest of shooters, moistest of men, and sometimes the mistiest of misses. These are our wet boys, guys that we want to kind of give credit to for being players of the day before. And one caveat, there was no basketball yesterday. There was no football yesterday. So usually Dave gives a wet boy first, but there will be no wet boy from Dave. It's just, I've gotten to the point where if I don't get a wet boy from you, Dave, there's just no wet boy for Dave that day.
That's true.
I'm not going to badger you to pick a baseball player.
Could I know you don't want to play pitcher who had an incredible game yesterday?
Don't worry, Dave. We'll get there. We kind of putting the cart before the donkey there a little bit. Then I give a wet boy, and the patrons at patreon.com/MVP vids also get to vote for a wet boy. And Dave, my wet boy, both of them are coming from baseball because there is a patron wet boy today as well. Mine is a guy who I call him Cubs Jesus. And the reason why I call him Cubs Jesus is because he died for our World Series sins, and that is Gleyber Torres. Had himself a little bit of a game, went a perfect 100% from the plate. I think he went 4 for 4 in the game. He 3 runs, 3 RBIs, 1 home run, had himself a game as the Yankees went into Cleveland and beat the Indians 12-3. They made a statement. Garrett Cole could have also gotten a wet boy. He had 13 strikeouts in that game. I believe he went 7 or 8 innings in that one. I think it was 7 innings. But yeah, Yankees had a great game after everyone being like, oh, they're not as good as they used to. They're kind of limping into the playoffs. Boom, the Bronx Bombers come out and they absolutely shit over the Cleveland Indians. And then, Dave, you alluded to it. You said you could have picked this guy, but the patrons did. Lucas Giolito had himself a game, Dave. Almost had it to where Soapy and I, before games live, I'm like, oh, man, Lucas Giolito has a perfect game through 6 innings. I wonder how that's going because the ESPN updates are usually late. And by the time I looked it up, it had just gotten broken up at the bottom of the 7th. So he went 7 innings, 2 hits, struck out 8. ESPN and stuff would not tell me, like even Baseball Reference wouldn't tell me his whip for the game. So that's why for the first time you see that he threw 100 pitches, because I'm like, I need some stat to put there, and I just couldn't find one. But yeah, I don't think the White Sox were winning today.
They lost.
But is it final?
5-3.
Damn, both Chicago teams. Both Chicago teams losing today.
Came up short.
Damn, both of them losing today. Not a good day for Chicago. But yeah, Dave, I say your team because you are a White Sox fan. Your team getting the big win yesterday. You support them by not watching them?
Correct. Every time I've watched the Sox play this season, they've lost the game.
Okay.
I am literally 6 for 6.
Plus, we know your mom won't be happy.
She texted me that. She's like, thanks for not watching. We won last night. I got that message.
Did you watch today, though?
I did not. This was not on me. You can't blame me for this today.
Your mom texted you, Dave, ... Did you watch?
Was not me today.
Did you watch? But yeah, those are our wet boys. A couple things I wanted to throw out here, Dave. Number 1 is I want to give an honorable Misty Miss. Not an official Misty Miss because they came up short, but an honorable mention because they deserve some credit. Yesterday, the epic run by the Connecticut Sun in the WNBA came to an end. They lost they lost 66-63 against the Las Vegas Aces. Aces came back down 2-1 in that series to win 3-2. So the Aces, number 1 seed overall, will be going on to the WNBA Finals. It was so close to where 66-63. Sun put up the game-tying 3, miss it, game over. That epic streak of bad ranked team comes in, upsets the number 2 team, almost upset the number 1 team. And Dave, Marc Gasol, news is he's quitting the NBA, but is he quitting the NBA? Like that's the thing. It was like, oh, he's quitting the NBA. Oh, but is he, or is this just a rumor?
It's a rumor because no major network has picked it up. It's like if
Okay.
we said Marc Gasol was quitting the NBA to go play in
Okay.
Chicago's,
Because I know Twitter picked it up.
G League.
Like I saw it
Right.
on Twitter. It was trending, and it was like an official like Twitter news bar on the website. I saw that during Games Live, and then Soapy asked me about it after the fact.
ESPN, The Athletic, nobody of note has picked up the story and has been able to confirm it. So till that happens, ain't really talking about it.
I was going to ask you just if you had to give a prediction of like, do you think there's a possibility that he might be like, fuck it, I'm done with the NBA? Could that be a possibility for Marc Gasol?
Like 10% chance. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Because like I looked at it and I'm almost like unless it's one of those things where it's like, hey man, like my brother's going to go play in Spain and I want to go play with my brother. Like with Paul Gasol, we don't know what he's going to do because like you and I looked at before the show was he signed with the Blazers in July. In November of 2019, he was waived by them and then just hadn't signed with a team. Yes, he is 40. I don't know if
he's also hurt the entire season, so why would he sign with it? Like he was cut.
No. Yeah, but I mean, like after this season,
it was not a shocker.
I mean, like after this season, he's 40. Is he going to continue to play, or is he going to hang it up this offseason? That's that's the thing with Paul Gasol.
He'll play in the NBA. He's enjoying his family time at home with his new baby daughter.
Yep.
I think that's his priority at this point in time. Marc Gasol still has some good basketball left in him.
35.
I would not be surprised that he got picked up by a contender going for another championship run who needs some crucial minutes out of a big boy.
But Dave, let's move back into the NBA talk, the NBA draft talk. This one's right up your alley, Dave, because this is a prospect that I know you have had questions about.
I feel like we already talked about this, though.
Well, the reason why this is coming back up is because there are new reports that teams have concerns. There was a tweet from the NBA Central on the 28th that says teams are worried about Anthony Edwards' drive and enthusiasm for winning, per Bleacher Report. Dion Waiters has been used as by skeptics as a comparison for low-end outcome for Edwards. Scouts and executives have mentioned that his teams haven't won at any level. And kind of the thing I just wanted to ask here is, should teams be concerned by that, Dave? Should there be a general concern for Anthony Edwards?
First off, I want to say told you so. Secondly, told you so. Third, Dion Waiters about to be an NBA champion, so put some respect on that.
Either way.
Fourth off, told you so. Fifth, I guess we can actually start talking about him as a player and as a person because you're probably sick of me by now. But this is something that I picked up on very early in his college career. There were a lot of rumors around his play style, his his tendencies on the court to only play when he had the ball in his hands, his effort, wide range of levels between like totally engaged, not engaged at all. Obviously, his coach is known for developing excellent shooting guards at the NBA level in Miami's Dwayne Wade, Vic Oladipo. In that similar vein, he was like, I want to go play for that guy. That's entirely why he picked Georgia. Like he specifically went to be made by the shooting guard maker. Like it felt like everything lined up to be perfect. And yet at the same time, I was like, well, he had more time with those guys, to be fair. He was able to spend more time working with Dwayne Wade and Vic on their game. But I just feel like Anthony Edwards, there are so many personality question marks when it comes to him. And when it comes to his play style of that so ball dominant AAU, I'm the team and, nothing else really matters out here. And the fact that the team didn't win any games because he did that.
Yeah.
He didn't play defense and he didn't try very hard at times. So, yeah, there's a lot of red fucking flags out there with his name attached. I totally get it. And it's one of the reasons why I've been so hesitant to have him in my top 5 for the entire year. It's like, I get it. He's an absolute monster of an athlete. He could be a great, player. He's a good scorer, but he's not efficient. I mean, if the effort's not there, like I don't want a guy who's checked out half the time.
For me, there was, of course, I've heard it from you, Dave, of you should be concerned about Anthony Edwards. I don't know if he has it. I've heard from you. But to me, the first part of the red flag that got shot up that I was like, people should read into that a little more, is that people were saying that the Warriors are like, the thing is with the Warriors, they were high on Anthony Edwards, not high on James Wiseman. And the thing for me is the reason why I say that's a red flag, because you may say, well, Ricky, I was about to like expect you to say that they weren't high on him. Like if a team like the Warriors is not high on him, that should be a red flag. For me, though, it kind of was, because it's one of those things where the Warriors are a team that can take a risk. Like, they're the only one in the top three that if they draft Edwards and he flops, all right, whatever, we got Steph, Clay, and Draymond. Like, we're still the best team, arguably, in the Western Conference, or one of the top three teams in the Western Conference. Let's put it this way. They are the best in the Western Conference until someone decrowns them in the West. Didn't happen this year. They weren't fully healthy. Like, no one in the West has decrowned them. If that happens next year, then okay, they're not the best in the West anymore. I can't say in the NBA because the Raptors dethroned them. And I'm not going to be the petty guy who said, well, if Klay Thompson was healthy, I won't say that. I'll give the Raptors their respect. They played a great series and won that one. But for me, it's just with Anthony Edwards, it's right there. Like, they are... with me, it's like I don't see the appeal with them. Like when I was typing this out, Dave, you know what name I almost put down? And then I was like, wait, that's not the right Anthony.
What's that?
Anthony Bennett.
Oh.
He's going to be Anthony Bennett, to where he's better talent-wise, he might be better than Anthony Bennett, but he will have the same career trajectory as Anthony Bennett, to where he might stick around longer, but he's not going to win anything. He's not going to be somebody that we look at that it's like, man, he really makes that team better. Unless you have a coach that you think, hey, I can get the best out of this kid. Like, I can be the one to fix him.
Sorry. It's this all of a sudden when the sun goes down, man, I'm just tired instantly. I feel bad. Dang, it's 7:00 too. Anthony Bennett was bad on a different level of bad. Like, you got to remember how bad this man was. His first year in the league, he was horrid. If you go watching the games was bad enough. Not Bleacher Report, Basketball Reference gives you an idea, but like Anthony Bennett was incredibly bad. Like, there's no fucking way that Anthony Edwards is Anthony Bennett levels of bad. Anthony Edwards can still get you 15 points any night. He might just take him 15 shots. You know, that's the fucking problem with him. Like, he hasn't met a shot he doesn't like. He doesn't, oh, you're going to double me? Cool. I'm still going to pull up from three on you. Like, he just doesn't get it sometimes. He doesn't play within a system. He is his own system, That works great when you're fucking Steph Curry, when you're Trae Young, not when you're Anthony Edwards. Sorry. So yeah, I think you might be a little too far on that train.
Well, I just mean like, okay,
look, he's Andrew Wiggins light. That's what I've been saying.
All right, makes sense. Talent wise, makes probably better sense. And Andrew Wiggins hasn't won anything.
Gifted. He is a prototypical scorer. He has all the ability to become an insane level like two-way player, but the work ethic isn't there. That's what we've said about Andrew Wiggins for years. He was so gifted. He was always the best player coming into the league. He was crowned before he was crowned. Turns out when you don't put any effort into your fucking game, you don't get better.
Yeah.
Like, it becomes very clear to guys around you how much time you're putting into your game off the clock. When you're at practice, when you're listening to coach, great. That's only so much of the game, though. You got to do it 24/7 every day. It's a full commitment, and they just didn't have it. Just did not have that. And I wonder if Anthony Edwards is going to have the same problem.
Dave, I'm going to quote one of my favorite all-time NXT and WWE wrestlers. Anthony Edwards doesn't have the enthusiasm. Well, guess what, Dave? You can't teach that. It's not something you can teach. If a player doesn't have the drive, if he doesn't have the enthusiasm, if he doesn't even have like the will to win, that is not something that you can say, I'm going to teach you to be a winner. I'm going to teach you to be enthused. Like
counter argument,
you either have it or you don't. Like, and I know there's situations of it's in there. It just needs somebody to kind of bring it out of you. But is this like, do you think this is a situation where it's in there and it needs to be brought out? Because I feel like if that was the case, we would have been talking about this, you know, like the college recruitment guys would have been talking about it when he was in high school. The draft guys now would have been talking about it when he was in college. Like, that's usually not where we're going. It's more of like he's not enthused. He doesn't have the will to win, rather than, oh no, it's there. It just needs to be brought out of him.
Yeah. I mean, again, the counter argument's always Ben Simmons because he did not win games in college. He was on a shitty LSU team. But again, you would think, you know, a player of his caliber could elevate a team, but he's not that kind of player. And that's what we're seeing in the NBA. And I think that's, you know, a lot of people are like, look, he's a top 10 defender in the NBA. He is phenomenal. He's one of the top passing guards in the NBA as well, but he just doesn't have like that killer instinct.
Yeah.
There's not that extra gear. There's something missing from his game. Obviously, the fact that he won't shoot a three, but there's other stuff. You know, it's just there are a lot of things you can point at and a lot of interesting comps you can make to Anthony Edwards from guys who are already through the league. So I think it's one of those cases where he must have done extremely poorly in interviews. Honestly, like extremely poorly in interviews is what I would guess.
To me, there's two teams. This is the last thing I'll say about Anthony Edwards. Two teams that the only two that I would like to see him on. One can happen. The other one's not going to happen. One's the Warriors, because I do feel like if the Warriors take him at 2, they have the cast of characters around them. They have a coach to where if the enthusiasm is there and it just hasn't been brought out, like that's the team to do it. Because like we've talked about before, when you're winning, everything's better when you're winning compared to losing. So like maybe they could help. The other team, and maybe this isn't maybe it's not like, oh, because it would help them. It would be more of because it would help us immediately figure out what kind of player he is. Miami. I would love to see Anthony Edwards with Jimmy Butler. Like that would basically let us know, are you going to be the guy that the people that like you are high on, or are you going to not be the guy and you're going to be the bust? You would find out immediately with one practice after Jimmy Butler. One practice. That's all you need.
It'd be a great test, but that would be a bad result.
That's a bad man.
Like that would not work out well. That would be like Jimmy's time there in fucking Minnesota. Like
and that's where I'm leaning. That's where I think it would go. But like, if you want to give the benefit of the doubt, maybe like those are the only two situations.
Yeah, but you can't put him on Miami. Miami about to win a championship.
No. I know. I said it wouldn't happen. I said one will, one probably will, the other won't.
So the options are, if you're going to end up in Minnesota, could that work out, or do you think there'll be a problem? If you end up in Golden State, or if you end up with the Hornets, like, or God forbid the fucking Bulls. If the Bulls take him, I will truly be confused, because so far we've done so well with this new regime. But like, where would he work out of those, those teams at the top? Like, you say maybe Golden State because maybe winning and being around excellence will help him.
Maybe. I don't think he's going to work out. That's the thing.
Okay, so you're just writing him off.
Yeah, I am. To where it's like, I think that I'll hit him. I'll hit him with the B word, Dave. I think he's going to be a bust at the end of the career. Of maybe the Anthony Bennett thing is going too far, but I think he's going to be a bust. I think it's going to be one of those things where he's taking top 5 on his name alone. You know what? Fuck it. Like, if he does fall
Smart would
past the 4, Smart would whoop his ass. But if he falls out of the top 4, Cleveland will take him and they will ruin his career. Like, that's what'll happen, because, Cleveland doesn't win anymore since they don't have LeBron. So, I mean, they'll just take another guard, have 3 of them, because, they need guards. Or wait, no, he's not a point guard, so they can't take him at 5. They got to, take, I don't know, Killian Hayes or Halliburton or another point guard with the Cavs. But we've got 2 more players, Dave, I wanted to look at. This one intrigues me because when we did our mock draft before this season even started, we're only at an hour, 54 minutes.
Okay.
I've got a timer going, Dave, right before we start.
I looked at the clock, man.
We didn't start till late because Soapy, you and I talked. Then we talked about the presidential debate for a while.
I'll be honest, I muted.
Yeah, okay. We were talking. But then how long did we talk about the debate pre-show?
Hey, like 15, 20 minutes.
No, it was longer than that, my guy.
Maybe 15,
Go back and watch the VOD. It was longer than that. But
maybe we could save some of these other draft things for later in the week. All I'm saying.
One more then, Dave.
Sure.
RJ Hampton, because I was really high on him.
This is a weird one. Let's go. Yeah.
Is it a weird one though? Because like this is a guy where. So watching his high school film, I was like, I love this guy. He can be the off-ball guy. He can be a guy that puts the ball in his hands. I'm like watching his shot. I'm like, it's not perfect, but like if he really nails that shot and works on it, he could be somebody that that teams could like work with. Well, apparently he's had interviews with a lot of teams, Dave. I'm going to list off the teams he's had interviews with, and you tell me what you see from RJ Hampton and which of these teams would be the best fit. The first one I'm throwing out there, the Knicks, I'm writing it off. They're going LaMelo Ball based on earlier. So the Knicks are one. The Bulls, the Kings, the Thunder, the Pistons, the Suns, and the Trailblazers.
Yeah. I mean, look, this guy was, like you said, he started off as a top 5 prospect in this class.
Mm-hmm.
He's now being mocked anywhere from 14 to 30.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is absolutely in limbo. And all he's done in the last year is play a handful of games in Australia and New Zealand. Like, he's not proved anything as far as anyone's concerned. You know, while LaMelo Ball went out there and didn't have the most efficient performances, we still got to see LaMelo Ball play against grown men for, I don't know, the 10th time in his fucking life, because all he does is play against grown-ass men. Like, since he was like 12 years old, he's been playing against guys 6 years older than him. So that one was no surprise. He still looked good. He still looked like a savant with the ball and moving the rock. But RJ Hampton got put on a team that didn't really need him to be a star. So he was a role player, and that's exactly what he looked like. And it was like, well, I'm not seeing anything. I didn't see flashes. I didn't see any, you know, like big game where it was like, oh man, RJ Hampton looks like a stud right now. Like, he's like, yeah, 4-point game, 6-point game. Cool.
The thing that I think that people are getting excited about, and even when I heard this, I got a little bit excited because yet again, I had the base of I liked RJ even coming into the draft discussions of. So this is from earlier this month. This is from a USA Today article. It says he has been working with Mike Miller. Yes, that Mike Miller. Yes, that Mike Miller. On improving his jump shot after he converted on 29.5% from three in 15 games with the New Zealand Breakers in the NBL. Miller said, according to Omari Sankofa II of the Detroit Free Press, that Hampton has improved greatly in that area. I really truly believe that in 2 or 3 years, he'll be a high 30s and low 40s three-point shooter. And if he does that, he's a multi-time all-star and will write his own script because he has so many other things that you can't teach. I'm proud of where he's come. It's night and day where he was and where he is now, to where it's like with me, the most intriguing team that I saw out of that, Dave, the Bulls. And there's something with me to where it's
Let's hear it.
I feel like AK, well, I'll say Acme, AKME. I'll pull into this also. So Acme, they're going to do their due diligence to where basically they're going to look at everybody, even the trade back options. If we trade back with X, Y, and Z, I almost look at this and I go, if Acme's really like, if they interview him and he interviewed well and they feel like they can go ahead and grab him, I kind of think there's a high chance then the Bulls could be trading back. Bulls could be trading back in the draft because you're not going to take RJ at 4. Like when he interviewed with the Knicks, there were people that like, well, they could take him at 8, and there were some people that's like 8 is way too high, and I was like, but is that the top then? Like, do the Bulls trade back into a range where they're like, hey, we can get some draft picks from X team. We can move back into a more favorable RJ range. And if you're a Bulls fan, is that something you would want? Would you want RJ Hampton on this team? Because I look at it and I'm like, athletic combo guard. We already have somebody who can play point guard and two combo guards. Why not add another one? Like, he's a guy to where I feel like if Kobe doesn't work out, he could be the guy to put next to Zach. Or it's like, okay, when Kobe's out there, maybe we're moving on from Satoransky. He could be the guy to put out there with Kobe in the future. Like, it might give the Bulls more versatility in their backcourt, kind of like what we're talking about with Halliburton and Hayes.
Denny Avdia at 4 means
could
we don't
be
trade
gone.
back.
He could even be taken. Like, that's the thing. Denny would have to be taken by either Charlotte or the Warriors for this to be in consideration.
Which it sounds like there's a chance that the Warriors go fucking Denny Avdia. Which means Charlotte just takes James Wiseman as everybody's chalked it up already.
Yep.
And we're stuck there looking at Anthony Edwards bum ass, as we just discussed, or trade back. And hey, maybe a team like Boston's like, we have the coach, we've got the guys, we can make him work. We can go with Wang Heaven here in Boston and we'll trade up, our 3 picks this year to go get ourselves Anthony Edwards, who we just shit talked for the last 10 minutes. And the Bulls will get 30, 26, and 14. And at 14, we're like, yes, we can absolutely land RJ Hampton. What do you think?
I would take that. And the only thing I'm thinking then is those other picks. Like, that would be something that I actually like because we're getting 3 guys. Like, and I feel like the thing with AK.
To do it, I hate that it's this year, but at the same time, it's like, whatever.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, to us, it's like at 4, there's 2 guys that I really want there, Dave. There's Ball and Abdia. That's it. Like, yeah, if we took Halliburton or Hayes there, would I be mad? No. But, like, it's not one of those things where I think we need to do. I think that with Acme, the board is, hey, Ball's number 1, Abdia's number 2. After that, the board's open to where it's like, yeah, we have our rankings, but after that, we're listening to teams. Do teams want to trade up?
I agree.
Do the Pistons want to trade up for someone? Because there are point guard heavy teams. The Knicks, I already said, are trading up to 1 to get Ball, so they're off the table. But, like, the Pistons need 1. The Suns have been mocked to point guard heaven in this draft, depending. Like, usually Halliburton's the guy that falls in drafts all the way to them. And I'm trying to think. I think there's one more in there. Not the Cavs. I think it's the Knicks is what I'm thinking of, and they're already moving up. But also, like, the Wizards. People are saying, like, the Wizards could, like, decide, hey, we want to, like, move on from John Wall, or like, hey, John Wall might get injured again. We need a contingency plan for if he does. So,
somebody
like,
can play point guard.
But yet again, I've seen it like, oh man, if Obi Toppin's there at 10, he'd be a really nice pick with the Wizards, because like I was reading into that and I'm like, man, Rui Hachimura and Obi Toppin. First off, there's no better team for Ricky. I might just pack up the Bulls stuff and be No, I'd never do that. I'd never be a Wizards fan.
I mean, there's no defense on that wing, but you would have some fun offensively.
I can't get rid of that.
Obi at the 5 and Rui at the 4. Yeah, that'd be fun.
If you're the Celtics, then are you taking a Kungwu at 4? Because JD says if Celtics move up, we'll probably go a Kungwu.
I love a Kungwu. I 100% would do that if I were them over taking Anthony Edwards. And it might seem crazy to a lot of people that we're saying Edwards has a high possibility of falling to 5 even. Mm-hmm. But 100%. Like, I think a Kungwu has a way better career arc than Anthony Edwards does. Like what he does. It's modern basketball. Mm-hmm. He knows his role. He's growing every fucking day. He's learning to shoot better. Like, everything you want to hear. Yeah. That's everything you want to hear about a guy is being leaked out about about Onyeka Kungwu. Anthony Edwards is like every negative rumor is just seeping out, and it's like, oh, these guys are on different tracks right now. It looks like. Yeah,
but like in the end, when it comes to RJ, the Knicks were the team that I was like, they could be a sneaky one. They could be the one to take him at 8 if they really liked him, because it's like, oh, he interviewed with the Knicks. That interview apparently went very well with the Knicks.
I don't know. I mean, like, Sacramento makes sense. We've heard the Buddy Hield drama. Mm-hmm. OKC, because of course we have a Wang out there who's got upside.
Yeah.
Detroit, Detroit needs a lot of things. I don't even know where to start.
They do, but I think they would take Halliburton or Hayes if available.
Maybe. Phoenix, I mean, sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like Phoenix needs a better 4. I like Cam as their starting 4, but then they need a backup 4 because they're going to let what's his face walk. Former Sixer, former Timberwolf.
I'm blanking on the name also.
European. I can't remember his fucking name. Where's Jake when you need him?
Yeah, where's Jake? But yeah, it's just the Nick
but
like
Portland. Portland's the other one. Portland makes sense.
But
so if he's there at 16, could I see Portland taking him or Tankathon has Josh Green and him pick after pick. I could see Portland if he fell. Yeah, absolutely.
I think him, Patrick Williams, and maybe
Pat Williams goes top 10.
What?
I'll say it. I'll say Pat Williams goes top 10.
Oh, I was gonna say both of those two guys are like my wild cards to where they could both crack the top 10. One of them could crack the top 10. Like there is something about them to where if a team likes them, and for me, if like he's cracking the top 10, either Detroit wants him, the Bulls trade back, and the Bulls really want him. Or for some reason, the Knicks, my prediction's not true. JD said Dario. Was it Dario?
Yeah, it was Dario.
Okay.
It was.
But like, those are like my situations. Like RJ Hampton to me, I think is going, I hope that he has a good NBA career because I liked him. I also hope that my boy Nico Mannion has a good NBA
Nico's
career
trash.
because I like Nico Mannion.
Treat RJ Hampton like you did Darius Baisley. That's the thing. You look at him as someone who basically had like a year off of basketball, with the upside of he was training in the professional scene for a couple months.
Yeah,
I don't.
To me, it's like you're not drafting RJ for what you're going to get rookie year. You're drafting RJ for what you're going to get down the line.
You don't draft any of these guys for what you get rookie year.
But there are some guys, like Zion Williamson. Like there are example of guys that can step in.
No, that's just a guy who is already on
in
another level. Like that doesn't mean you're drafting him for what he can do right now.
I mean, like
they're
even
not
the
like
Knicks,
he's going to help us get to the playoffs this year.
No, I'm not saying playoffs, but I'm saying like there are guys that you draft them and they're instantly a starter on that team. Like I don't think RJ is that guy.
So he's not good enough to start on a team right now.
Well, it depends on what team. Like there might be some teams, like if he goes to Orlando, maybe because of injuries and everything, and like maybe they shake things up and Gordon's not there, and that shifts their lineups and rotations to where it's like some teams he may start.
It's going to be out all next season. If you get Chuma back, and that's where I'm going. Sneaky early vote for rookie Chuma Okeke.
Mm-hmm. Because he didn't play last year.
He did not play. He hasn't even signed, his official deal starts next year. That was a weird contract situation. But with Jonathan Isaac out, there are definitely opportunities in Orlando for a lot of things to happen. Fournier's contract's up, same thing. Like you got questions to answer. So lots of people like Orlando as a landing spot, to go 1-2 with Markelle Fultz as someone who can help move the ball on the court.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting. 2 other guys we were going to mention, but I guess, Dave, we will push it back. We are going over an hour. Not every show can be an hour and a half.
We might be doing a couple names coming up.
One of them Dave really likes. So there you go. There's your little
One of them Sean really liked.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't remember. We got a comment about Sean, by the way.
I saw that during
who was that third guy that did the podcast with you? I'm like, I don't even remember his name.
Yeah.
Remember his name. Put some respect on Sean. But that's going to do it for MVP Sports Live today. Thank you guys for joining us. Remember, Nick's going to draft LaMelo Ball number 1. But remember, join the Discord. Link down below in the description or ! Discord into Twitch chat. There you go, peeps. I beat you guys to it. That's a great community to talk NBA and all sports if you want to join in with us. We do watch alongs. You can get on those by supporting us for just $1. Patreon.com/MVP vids, but you can also support us by throwing us a sub on Twitch as well. We're on Twitch every Monday through Friday. Twitch.tv/MVP vids. We're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. Want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Dave and I will be back tomorrow for more sports news. Have a good day, everybody.